welcome to the show. I am so delighted and happy to have a wonderful, wonderful guest in the studio today. I have with me Pastor AMELIA QUANSAH of Highest Prayer Center. I have Reverend DELALI of House of Mercy from Harlow and his beautiful, beautiful wife, Pastor Mrs. SANDRA DELALI. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And of course, I am your one and only Nana Checha. Today we'll be talking about marriage, because marriage is a good thing, you know, and all of us here are married. Pastor, you've been married, you're going on 20 years.
That's right.
And then Reverend, 16 years. And I'm also, this Sunday will be 20 years. So congratulations to you all. And, you know, we're all happy, aren't we? We're all happy in our marriages. But there's so many people, so many people out there that are kind of trapped. They're unhappy in their marriages. So today we're not just talking about happy marriages, but, you know, how can we do and how can we help for our audience out there who are not happy in their marriages? So welcome again.
Thank you.
So I'll start with you, Pastor AMELIA. I know you've been married for, you say, going on 20 years.
That's right.
I want you to take me back, way back when you started the journey of marriage. Tell me let's say the first 3 years. How was it like?
Oh my gosh, the first 3 years, to be honest, we fought like cats and dogs. There were good times, but by then the honeymoon period was over, and you know, we saw each other for who we really are at that time, young, inexperienced. You know, we both had ideas about what married life was going to be. And
did you go counseling before you got married?
Not, you know, because we married quite young. If I were to tell you the love story, but we don't have time.
I think, yeah, we'll come to that.
Yes.
Of course.
But, yeah, we married quite young. We did have some counseling when we got married, but we didn't have very much before we got married. And to be honest, it was a lot of fumbling around in the dark, trying to find out what we wanted. We kind of had a general idea of our vision and our goals in life. But, you know, when you come together with someone and you're actually living with them, it's a different story altogether. I had my idea of what I was going to do every day, and he had his idea, and the two didn't really meet.
Reverend, what about you? 15 years.
15 years, yes. That's a great milestone. I would say the transition was easy because we started with friendship.
Okay.
We didn't have this idea that we were going to marry, just friendship. And later we decided that no, you are the one. And she also saw that no, I was the one. So we just transitioned, not like jumping into marriage like that African like marriage, I'm the boss. No, we were just friends. So,
okay. When you say you were just friends, like, I want to know, like, were you in the same church and then you were friends and then you courted and then you decided to marry, or you met in school? No. You know,
we met at church. He came to visit my church, and I got to know that his brother was actually our family friend. So when I went back home, I said to my mom, "Oh, so and so's brother is in the country." And like, "Oh, okay, invite him home," you know, that kind of a thing, because your friend's brother is in the country. So we invited him home, we became friends, and he was a very, very good friend. And then I realized that, okay, it was getting somewhere. And prior to that, I had already set my goals and my aims and everything to see. And he ticked all the boxes for me. And so when the time came for us to now get married, or to know that, okay, we're dating or we're courting, it wasn't very difficult. And before we got married, we had our pre-marital counseling as well. So we had a bit of an idea as to what we wanted, and then he was already a pastor, you know.
Yeah.
So he knew what he wanted. I was a bit of a career girl, and I was, you know, super independent, and I wanted to do things my own way. But yeah, the transition was okay. First 3 years, it was okay. Okay, thereabout. We didn't really fight or quarrel that much. We had fun because we didn't have kids then.
Okay.
And so we had fun. For me, the first 5 years of my married life was bliss. It was fantastic. We had so much fun. Then the in-betweens when the kids started coming in was when I was getting a bit stressed and all that.
Okay, so the first fight, was it here it was in Ghana?
No.
It was here. You met here.
Yeah, I went to preach in their church.
Oh dear, okay.
She was the lead singer. And,
this is interesting.
My brother used to be a big popular figure when it comes to politics in Ghana. So when you mention the name, everybody knows.
Yeah.
So the pastor mistakenly, fortunately or unfortunately, but now still fortunately mentioned that this pastor coming to preach is also the younger brother of this person in Ghana. So that person also happened to be the mom's friend.
Oh.
So that's when the connection started.
Okay.
It's so going to look for the donkeys, the laws. The agenda was God's agenda.
And then decided you were supposed to be singing. You were supposed to be looking at the pastor.
I wasn't looking at him.
Right. So, Pastor Amelia, did you also have a take? Because, you know, I think this will resonate with the younger ladies who are now looking to marry. Did you have your take?
I had that take list. I wanted him to have everything ready, the money, the house, the car. And funny enough, when I was 7, my husband is a bit older than me, told my mom one day, I'm going to marry your daughter. And she just thought, what?
Your now husband?
My now husband.
Really?
We met when I was 7. And he said,
7 years old?
Marry your daughter. And my mom just thought, what's wrong with you, this young man? You know, get out of here, kind of thing. But 14 years later, we did get married. We met up again, and you know, we kind of, every time I would travel back home to Ghana, I would kind of like him, and he would kind of like me, and, you know, over the teenage years, you know, they have that holiday romance. Yeah. But, you know, God so good. I had a tick list, and at that time I made a tick list. I said, God, this is what I want. And 2 gentlemen started calling me at the same time with everything ready. And there comes my husband, who didn't have much of the list.
Oh, God.
And I literally had to say, God, if it's him, let the light flicker.
Yeah.
God, if it's him, let someone walk in the door. And every one of those things happened. And, you know, I prayed about it and, you know, spoke with my mom and my pastor at the time. And, you know, we all came to, you know, that conclusion that, yeah, this is what God wanted. And that's how we got married. Wow. And at the beginning, as I said, it wasn't as, you know, we had happy times. We were in love. We had, you know, grown to know each other over the years. But initially, you know, that courting period was over. And then it was like, okay, we're married. What are we supposed to do now?
Well, so you talked about love. Is there love? Is there something called love?
Yeah.
Was yours love at first sight? Did you fall in love there and then, or it grew?
We didn't fall in love. It wasn't love at first sight for me. It was a gradual process, because I'd had a few knocks on the way, so I had to now know what I was getting myself into. And for me, if you had told me that I would marry him, I'll tell you, nah, he was a bit too much of a gentleman for me. I don't really like bad boys, but I wanted a bit of, you know, oomph, sort of. But he is very quiet, very laid back, very gentle. But then I got to realize that anytime I'm with him, I bring out the best in him. I made him have fun. He put away that, pardon me, but that Ghana suffer mentality away. You know, when you're not supposed to wear jeans and stuff. And I will let you wear jeans because I love my man to wear jeans. And yeah, that kind of a thing. And I realized that he complimented me in a whole lot of ways. And he also saw my good side and my bad side. And he saw it all, but he wanted it. I was very honest with him. This is me. What you see is what you get. If you don't want it, well.
This is also for mommy.
That's what I spoke about.
Yeah. So Pastor, from your side, your point of view is, well, how did you, when you, well, she's spoken that she brought the best out of you. When you saw and she was like that, what did you say, oh, what have I gotten myself into?
Oh, actually, like she just said, when we met, not like I said, I love you, and we started courting. No, it's rather me deciding to mentor her. I've seen somebody who has got potential, who can do a lot, love praying and other stuff. So I thought, this is somebody that I can bring up. So that's how we started. And you know, I was working in Burkina Faso and in charge of other things there. So I thought when I finished my study. I was studying at that time. When I finished, I would go back. So my mind wasn't like marrying in this country. So we met in this country. But for me, my background was an SU president. When I say SU, Scripture Union president.
Yeah.
And
very spiritual.
Very spiritual. we blow tongues like.
And your khaki trousers.
That's how.
It was so spiritual.
Haircut and everything. Yeah. And I saw that she's also on the other side. But like I said, you need to adjust. Yeah. I'm taller than her. If she uses the car and I'm going to use it, I need to adjust the seats and adjust the mirror.
Okay.
So as a man, you need to really know how to adjust. So I adjusted and we start sailing.
Right, you were in Burkina Faso. I know you do other things. Would you tell us before we dive into our other conversation? Tell us
because I mentioned Burkina Faso.
Yes.
I believe I've been called as an apostle to the French nations, and because of that, after 6 months, I went to do a degree in French. So I trained as a French teacher, not to become a French teacher, but to be able to speak French. And by the grace of God, I speak French more than English before going to the Bible school. So I traveled to French nations a lot: Haiti, Burkina, Mali, Niger, just to preach the word of God and also to go with other things to give them. So I'm a missionary philanthropist.
Oh, exciting. Pastor, you too, you do some charitable stuff in Ghana. Tell us about it.
So in Ghana, we have a school called Little Angels Bible Academy. So we give education, but it's not just academic education, also spiritual education as well. So we believe in training young people to have the morals and also the character, and also, actually have academic skills as well. So we had that school running in Cape Coast in the Central Region for over 2 years. And we actually took care of all the children, their uniform, their food, the teaching stuff, and it's a powerful vision. But God just told me to, train up the children, not just academically, but because they are the next generation's pastors who may not stand behind the pulpit, but will go into, the world, will go into the marketplace. So you have to prepare them from, as young as 4 years, 5 years, to know how to read the word, understand the word, and also be academically smart as well. So,
awesome. So both of you are, apart from pastoring churches, you're doing awesome things. But the moment, as our topic is marriage, and if you tune in or you've just joined us on YouTube or Facebook, we're talking about marriage, and we know a lot of people are not happy, and today we want them to be happy. Right, so 20 years in this marriage, what are the things that made you unhappy and why?
Yeah, I think for me, one, you've got to be compatible with whoever your partner or your spouse is. You've got to be compatible. In other words, you've got to have that understanding, that mutual respect, that trust, compatible in that way. And also you've got to have companionship. So you've got to, as you said, you started as friends. You've got to have that place where you're friendly with one another. You do activities together. And if you're not having some of these things, that's where, the confusion comes in, disagreements come in. Why? Because you're not friendly. Whatever attracted you to that person in the first place is no longer there. And so when some of these things are not there, that's when you start to see little weak spots in the marriage. And my husband always says, anytime we go through a rough patch, he looks at a picture that I sent to him, and he looks at that picture, he's like, that is why I married you. That's why I'm still here. So he reminds himself, what was it that I saw in this lady that made me come all this way and, stay in this marriage? And that's what keeps him fresh. So, you've got to, if you don't have those goals or those that vision before you, then things start to drop off. It's like you have a best friend. You're not doing anything together. You don't call each other. What happens? You drift apart. And it's the same thing in marriage. Once you start losing respect, even attraction. Maybe what attracts you to the person is the way they dressed, and now they're wearing that same 90 from 19something. They're not changing it. They're not doing their hair, But when you first met them, you were attracted. That's what kept you thinking, yeah, I like this person. So, anytime, those things start to wear out, that is when you start to see things come up. Obviously there's things like finances and family issues come in, but you've got to have, I would say, those are the core things: compatibility, the companionship. If we look at the business world now, what is really selling is companionship. everybody's lonely, depressed, they need a friend, they need someone to talk to. So these are some of the key areas that will keep the marriage happy.
Reverend, what about you? What were the things that you think were making you unhappy? Like, 15 years, so definitely there were moments that you weren't unhappy. And what were those?
I would say I keep on telling my wife communication. Communication, because like she said, I'm laid back, I don't talk, but I talk a lot when I want to know what I want, or I want a suggestion from you. I talk a lot, and everywhere I go, my itinerary, I communicate it. And like if I'm the only one here coming for the interview, everything from here, as soon as I get home, I need to let her hear, so she'll get to know. So she's not that type. So I would say, you didn't tell me. And she would say, but you gave me the letter. And I said, yeah, I gave you the letter, but I didn't open it. So when you open it, then you tell me. So I would say communication, because dialogue brings understanding. So you communicate it and you talk about it, then you know you let your partner know what you want. Because he is not God or she is not God. So I think communication is a very big thing that I've been hammering on, and she is there.
So what about you? Definitely there were some moments that were like,
I'm suffocating.
I need to get out.
I need to get
out. Yes.
Well, there were those moments, mainly because, like I said, he's a bit laid back and I'm not. And so when I want to do things my way, and then I realize that he's trying to be not an impediment, but a bit of, why don't you wait and do it this way? And I'm like, no, go get her. I want to do it and I want to do it now. But he would say, why don't you wait until you do it later instead of A, B, C, D? And I'm like, no, I want to do it now. And then I'm misunderstanding. But then when I come back to earth, and we talk about it, I realized, what he was saying was making so much sense, other than what sometimes I think it's selfishness. And so that selfishness doesn't make you happy in a relationship. And I don't think there's anything like bad marriage. I think it's lack of friendship that brings about bad marriage. Because if you're friends with a person, like you have a best friend, somebody can be your best. I have a best friend that maybe I haven't spoken to her in like a week or a month, but the moment we are on the phone, we hit the ground running. We don't complain, you didn't call me and I haven't heard from you. We don't do that. We just, once I call her, we're catching up from where we stopped. I think that is friendship. And so when you bring that friendship into the marriage, it makes it work. Lack of friendship will make your relationship break down, because every marriage will encounter obstacles one way or the other, irrespective of what it is. It could be children, it could be finances, it could be jobs, it could be careers, whatever it is. But if you have that solid core of a friend in your spouse, you will sail through.
Right. And before we came on board, we came in, we're talking about, there are some people who, as Reverend said, communication, where the woman doesn't communicate to the husband, even in terms of complimenting the husband or uplifting the husband. And I think that in our community or society nowadays, because we don't communicate, we don't, because when God created the woman is supposed to be the helper of the man. So if a woman doesn't compliment the husband, or the woman is not patting the husband, do you think it's very important for us as women to do that? Pastor?
Yeah, I would say one thing my bishop always used to say is women become men when men stop being men. So sometimes you see that a woman is more dominant in the marriage, or more dominant, or she has a more dominant personality, and start to make all the decisions, and until the time the man doesn't even have a voice anymore. And so when that happens, it's what you are saying. So what needs to happen is when you begin to communicate and discuss and be open, and that's what a lot of people are not open. They can tell their best friend, but they won't tell their partner what's really bugging them. They'll say, but they just don't hear me, they just don't understand, and they just don't know that I don't like what they're doing. But they haven't really taken time to sit down and say to them, this is what I'm expecting, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. And so even in our marriage, I realized in the first few years, I was really dominant. I was, having a high-powered job, go get it. So I was like, you know, if we get paid, if I want to buy the shoes, I'm buying the shoes.
Exactly.
If I want to go to McDonald's 3 times a day, I'm going to McDonald's. But then I had to sit down and realize that, you know, in a way it was belittling my husband, in a way it was not, you know, boosting his morale or, you know, speaking to the king in him. So, you know, sometimes as women we are helpers, yes, but it doesn't mean that we are the doormats. It means that as he's going higher, I'm also going higher. It's like if I'm having soup, why do I want the soup to be bitter? We're all enjoying it together. So in other words, I have to encourage him, motivate him, even if maybe as the woman you are the one that's, you know, earning more, because that's what happens in a lot of relationships. The woman may be earning more, she may be working, he may be at home, but you still need to speak to that king in him. You still need to make him feel that he's making the decisions, even if you're rubbing the head and saying, I think we should, you know, buy this. You know, it's not that you're manipulating the person, but you're encouraging them to make them know that they are in this with you as well. And it's not just all about you.
Reverend, as Lady Sandra speaks the king in you.
Hello. I would say most men are not really benefiting from the marriage or from their wife because they still have that mentality that you are the lesser or the weaker vessel. So you are the lady, you are the second in charge, I'm the one.
You're the head.
You're the head, I'm the head. Yeah, and we can have 2 heads.
Yes.
So I would say that there can be only one head. Not 2 heads. But you've been missing because there are certain places that I am weak there, and there are certain places that she is really strong. For example, in our homes, we teach the kids their homework. I train teacher, so I teach French, I teach them maths, everything. Then you hear Lady Sandra, when the kids go to her, maths homework, go to daddy, that downstairs, go to daddy. But when it comes to English, I also say, go to your mom.
Yeah.
Because she did the teacher, she's really good at English. So when it comes to maths, science, French, then I'm them. So you see, you need to, I normally see here that we are the same. I'm not the head. We are both running the family. But I think what is ruining most of African marriages is I am the head, I'm the boss. Whatever I say, it goes. So if whatever you say is bad, and she has not been given any voice in that family or in that house, she will keep quiet, and your GPS will take you into a valley. You have an accident. So I think that you should see the strength in your wife and allow her into the family.
How do you speak the king in your husband? We want to teach somebody.
Respect. A lot of people think that when you're respecting your man, you're letting yourself go down or something like that. But when you give a man his respect that is due him, I keep telling women, it doesn't matter what you ask him, he will give you. Because he knows that you respect him. And by doing that, you're bringing him up to the point. You know you can do it. I know I can drink this water. But if I come and I say, sweetie, I've seen your water there, can I drink it? I've made him aware that I know the water is his. I can take it and drink it if I want to, but I'm asking him, can I have it? And he will go, oh yes, baby, you can drink it. But if he's talking, then I just come and tell him what can I drink. He might not say anything, but at the back of his mind, he's thinking, what's going on here? And so when you respect him, respect his opinions, especially when it comes to being in public, and then your husband is talking and you know that what he's saying, you can say it better. That is not when you go and pull him the hand and you go to the front. No, you let him say it, support him, and if it means that you want to add your voice to it, you do that. Or when he comes out of it and you say, baby, if he has said it X, Y, Z, it would have been better. You boost his confidence up. Next time when he goes there, he knows that he can do it and do it better. And then you support him. Like Auntie said, some women are earning more than their husbands, but that doesn't mean that you have to become lord over him. I said to him a few days ago, I said, your money is our money, but my money is my money. And he said, really? I said, yes, you are the head of the family, and so your money, I said it in a very jovial way. And
but you meant it.
Of course. And so with all that, I mean, we have a very playful family. I mean, we play with our kids, we play with each other, we compliment each other. But I think the utmost thing is that you give him the respect due him.
So respect again, it could be, what about if there's that argument? you know, because that is another thing that we find in society about arguing and talking back to each other.
You always disagree to agree.
Yeah, you did. Okay, could you elaborate on that?
There always has to be a fine line between you being controlling, being manipulative, and we putting our cards on the table about arguing. What are we arguing about? Is it finances? Okay, you want to buy a car. I'm saying the mortgage needs to be paid. It doesn't mean that we have to be on each other's neck. We are arguing, you're winning, I'm not winning because I want to pay the mortgage, you want to buy a new car. Or let's say now, I want a new car and then you want to pay the mortgage. There has to be an equilibrium. We have to find a very flat ground where we draw the line, not when I want it and I'm having it. I was dealing with a case recently, but then when one person is controlling, when controlling comes in, then communication breaks down.
And controlling from the man or from the
both. It depends on who is arguing. When one is trying to be controlling, one trying to be manipulative, you don't manipulate your partner or your spouse. There always has to be that fine line of respect and friendship. You're saying we should pay the mortgage now, I understand, but I also need a new car. This car is not good for me. All right, let's pay the mortgage this month, and then we would try and find or save some money to buy the car. Even though it might not be what I want at that particular moment, looking at the situation, that is the best option out. And so then you might think, oh, well, I won. But that is the best thing. The woman might also think, okay, I've given you that option of you paying the mortgage this month, but next month you're not paying the mortgage. Call them and say you want a month of relief and then buy the car. It's also a good thing. But then there has to be that weight where you're not like a swing, seesaw. If there's no balance, one person will fall down. But if there's a balance, we can all swing up and down.
What's your take on that?
Yeah, I was going to say exactly the same thing. There must be that balance. Because like you said, there's times when you are like, no, this needs to be done now. I can really relate to like when you're saying maybe your spouse may be laid back and you are like, I'm on it, I'm doing this now. Let's work on this. And maybe the other partner is like, no, we can get to that, we'll do that, you know. So sometimes there's got to be that balance where, you know, you just wait because everything is about timing. You know, you might be saying, if we don't do it now, we'll miss the opportunity. But, you know, if you do it, are you willing to forfeit the marriage, the peace in the home because you wanted that thing now? You'll get it, but will you get the peace? No. So, you know, sometimes it's about waiting and making sure you've got that balance right, making sure that, you know, I was saying that life is about give and take. You give more than you take. So sometimes you look at the other person's perspective and wait, because anything you do with pressure, you can make a mistake. So you just wait until the time is right, or until you think, okay, let's do some now and we'll do some later. But you know, if you just go ahead and do it, you know, you'll be counting the cost later in the marriage. You know, you might be thinking you've won, but later down the road, when the same thing happens to you, you know, then you'll be like, oh, what's going on? But you don't realize that you also put your partner in the same position. So it's all about, the key word is partnership. Like you said, you're in it together. So if you're in it together, make sure that the whole family is going to benefit from the decision that you take. And you know, you don't, sometimes people look at other people's marriages, and sometimes it's good to look at, you know, some people, but at the same time, your marriage is your marriage. What works for you may not work for somebody else. So you've got to, I like the word you use, adjust. You know, try to fit in with what you are doing in your house. Like in our family, we cook, somebody cleans, we can mix together sometimes, and you know, he's a better cook than me, he can cook. You know, it doesn't mean, oh my God, African man, she should be bringing it with a tray. That I told you this. When we first got married, I said, please,
not in my home.
It's not the way, so please, you know, but it works for us. And we're doing it. Somebody, they may say, no, my wife always brings the tray and this and that one. No, if I try to force myself to do it that way, then, you know, exactly, it's like wearing a mask. Eventually, that mask will come off. And, you know, so,
you know, Reverend, some say we had some questions coming through, and then one of the ladies was like, you know, my husband never helps me. You know, he comes home from work, he sits down, he switch on the TV, cross his legs, and you know, and then also she is the man is in the house, but is not taking responsibility of anything. What do you have to say on that as a man?
We have the bigger muscles, you see. So we the men, we have to help. For example, as Reverend Amelia was saying, in the house, I do breakfast. I do breakfast a lot. She doesn't come down Saturdays, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, before she will come. That means the breakfast, I have to take it to the bedroom, and I do that with joy. So as men, we have to help in the house alone. Even if you're not a DIY person, you can buy tools and you can do a lot of things. We need to help them physically clean the house. And you normally say, even though the ladies are saying, whatever a man can do, women can also do. But in the house, if you want your woman to look very fresh, like you see my sister, you see my wife, the men out there, you see them, they look very fresh. It's because we are not putting a lot of workload on them. So in 20 years, they will still be the same. But if they work 9 to 5, come home and they have to do everything, then in 10 years' time, they look like your mom. So I believe that you have to help them, and it's really good.
And as ladies, how do you help your man? I know because the ladies are saying, you are into you're a relationship coach, and so definitely some of the women come to you and complain about how do you advise them?
Well, you need to look at where the man is also coming from. Most of the time it's from their background. Growing up, especially those from Africa, and pardon me to use the word, but they are shanties. They were brought up in a way that a man doesn't go to the kitchen. And so it's a woman's job to cook, to clean, to look after kids. And then he goes to work and come back and switch on the TV, and then the remote becomes his friend, and on and off. But then in Ghana, we had house helps, we had house boys, we had gate men. And so the workload was not solely on the wife. But here, we don't have house helps, we don't have house boys, gate men, and all these things. And so when you come back from work and you're now going to prepare food, you're going to look after the kids, there's house chores to be done, and the man is sitting down, it becomes very annoying. And the women
it becomes
very annoying. And so the women don't take it with ease. Like, you should help me. At least, maybe you have a baby, you can give the baby a wash. So why are you sitting down? And then if you tell me, oh, but you can do it, it's a woman's job to do it, I wouldn't have that love to come to you and be friendly with you because I'm upset. But if you want your wife to be your friend, to be a companion to you, then you need to get up and help.
And then after that, they want to do the other stuff.
It doesn't help. That is what the woman also said. I'm tired.
Yeah.
And then she would turn her face, and then you go, okay, then if I go out, you don't have to complain. If you don't have to complain, then when you come home, you do what you have to do as a husband and a father. You see, I mean, you need to help in the home. That one I say to all the men. I say, you don't leave the housework for your wife alone to do, because everybody has a breaking point. 2 days ago, I was so tired. I couldn't even walk. Literally, I was very, very tired. And so when I got back home around 8 p.m., and then my older daughter said, I wanted to eat. My husband was like, are you sure you want to do this food? I said, she doesn't normally eat fufu, but for some strange reason, she said she loved the smell of the soup. So, all right, let me just calm down and do it. And when I did it, I just left the two of them. My husband said, go and have a wash and lie down because you look very tired. If such a person can let me go and sleep, then it means that if he needs my companionship in the night, I have to be available for him.
Yeah.
But if I'm on my feet trying to cook, he didn't even eat. He said to me, I'm too tired.
Yeah.
The same food that she prepared for my daughter.
Yeah.
She wanted to prepare for him.
And then he said, no, you're tired, go and sleep. And so if he can let me off, then when it's time for him, I have to be available. But if you're making me cook, clean, teach, wash, iron, do everything in the house, and then you want to come to me for item 13, I'm sorry, but it ain't happening because I am tired. I need to sleep.
It boils down to the love.
Yeah.
I mean, we were getting ready to get married. I think the pastor that was, what was the name? Counseling us said, can you die for her? I said, yes. So in case maybe, you've been to Dubai and she didn't take paracetamol, you take it there and they call that they're going to be hanging. Can I go and say, look, let her come, look after the kids, then take me. So if you're able to come to that place, then you have feelings for your wife. And blood run through her veins as well. She's not your maid, she's really your wife, somebody that you love. You like buying a car. Your dream car.
Reverend likes cars. I can see that he likes cars.
Yeah. You wash the car, even that car. Some people cover it, the whole garage, and it's also covered.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And if you come and somebody perchance uses even a nail to scratch it, it's like, oh, the same thing. Look at the car and look at your wife. So you want to DDD say something that women have to be loved, but men have to be respected. And he gave an example. He said, you take the car to the washroom, they wash it, you go to the fuel station, you put petrol in the car, and the car doesn't, it's not a human being, but you own a car, you service the car, because you want the car to also run well and to help you, to take you to where you want to go. So you take good care of your wife, do whatever, love her, help her, and she'll be there for you.
So talking of a car, on my birthday he bought me a Grand Cherokee. It was a few years ago, and that was my dream car. I love that car to bits. That if anything happens to the car, I'm like, oh, hey, don't eat in this car, don't put crumbs in this car. I think that if we bring that kind of attitude into our marriage, it would work. Something you love, you appreciate. If you look on my Facebook, most of the things I say is that place value on the things that you love. And so if you love your husband, if you love your relationship, you place value on it. And whatever you place value on, you treasure. And whatever you treasure, you value. That's how it works.
I like that because, it makes, if you treasure your wife, you treasure your husband, you don't go dissing them to other people, is it? And that is another thing that I think we should talk about, that it's important that who you are discussing your wife or your husband with, because you don't know. You don't know what's good. Even, I know you're all pastors, even some pastors, you understand, because I think, especially we the women, but now it's the men as well, they talk too much. What do you have to say on that?
Definitely.
Do we talk too much?
I think we do. Like I said, everybody needs somebody, and sometimes it's just because you get so frustrated, you just want to release, and so you just vent to the next person that comes on the phone. But that is why your husband or your wife has to be your best friend, so that you rather vent to them than going outside, because you just don't know who you're going to vent to, the counsel they're going to give you. They'll give you wrong advice. I've had people that have come to me, and the person that somebody has counseled them that they should leave the marriage, it's not going to work, and I'm like, why? And after a few weeks of counseling with them, up to today, the marriage is still going strong. And this is somebody that the friend said, no, you have to leave. If it was me, I would never put up with that. You just got to be really careful about who you are discussing the marriage with. Ask yourself, is this person even in a sound marriage? And it's you in that marriage. At the end of the day, whether you're speaking to as an in-law or your siblings or, another man or woman of God, it's you that is in that marriage. And I got to the point in my marriage, I think it was probably within the first 4 years or 5 years, and even I was speaking to another woman of God, and she said to me, are you sure you even married the right person? And I think it stuck to me, and because it was coming from somebody, I thought, wow, this is a spiritual lead that that's true, but somebody had to sit me down and say, no, this is your marriage. At the end of the day, they will go home to their spouse, but you will go home to an empty home. So just make sure what you are doing, is it right for you, and is it what God wants for you? And that's when I really sat up and I had to, sit down and have my own quiet time with God and, understand what is He saying for me. And then I had good counsel around me as well to encourage me to see both sides. So if you're not having a balanced, person speaking to you, they're just like, really? Is that what happened? It's like they just want breaking news. All they want is breaking news. You're helping them, to chew meat more. So you've got to really make sure that the person, what is their aim? If you're arguing about something, what is it going to do to you? Is it going to add value to you? Is it going to destroy your home? Is it going to, make you happy? So you really got to, be really careful about who you're speaking to. And thank God, when we were in marriage, we actually stayed with a pastor, and he really counseled us at every point, to obviously see the other side of it and not to just get caught up with, well, I said, and I feel, and I feel. And when you're going through down times, all you can think about is yourself, because you're hurting. Because you're hurting, all you think is, I'm bleeding, I'm hurting, he hurt me, he said that, and but I'm trying, but you never think of, well, what about them? Why do you think they hurt you? Why do you feel like that? What about them? What do they feel? Because everybody's reacting to something at the end of the day. So, who you speak to is so important.
Reverend, what's your take on that?
Oh, I'll just say there's this popular saying that a problem shared is a problem halved. But you need to be careful, like Reverend Amelia just said. You speak out good, but you need to talk to God first. Talk to God, pray about it. And I like what she said about, I was having good counsel around me. So good counsel. So make sure that whoever you're discussing that very thing with is not somebody that you're just saying it for saying sake, but you need help. That's why you are speaking out. So somebody that can really help you in the marriage. So not like, are you sure you married the right person? That's not the time for that question. That's a seed sowing. But you have good counsel. You have people around you that you can say, look, this is what is happening. But your way of even presenting it is that I need solution, not that I want to go. So the person also will help you to go. So you need good counsel around you. But God is the first deity. If you're a Christian, God, you speak to God first. Then God will use men who now direct you, lead you to the right person also.
You know, there are marriages out there that the spouses are not sleeping with each other. We before when we were saying flatmates.
Yeah.
How do you stay because of the kids, or do you say bye?
It depends on what it is. What is the problem in the home? Like I said, if it is abuse, my number one thing is get out and get help. If not, you will die and you will leave the kids behind. So if it is abuse, you're getting out. If the person is controlling to the point where you are suffocating, sometimes you need to take a bit of a breather. I'm not saying you leave him, but go away for a bit. Could be a vacation somewhere. And then by the time you come back, you are refreshed. The other person is also refreshed, because when you are absent from one from another, not for a very long time, maybe for a weekend or a week or two, this person is also going to reflect, unless the person is a narcissist who thinks that you are the cause of what I am doing to you. But if not, and it's a sensible person, when you go, they say absence makes the heart grow fonder. So then they begin to miss you. What did I do to push this person away? What did I do to get to where I am now? What have we done to this marriage that we're in? What have we done? Why have we got this gap? And sometimes women especially stay because, one, society. What will society say that I'm gone? But then it's you are the one in it, and you are the one bleeding. So you need to know where it hurts the most. And so we put on with society, we put on with our children, and that is what happens, that when the kids leave the nest, the relationship, after 20 years, they divorced. Why? They didn't divorce after 25 years. They divorced about 10, 15 years ago when the kids were there. The woman stayed because of the kids. The kids are no more there. There's no solid ground. We need to go our separate ways. And so we stay because of kids and society, and sometimes because we don't have financial security. When the man is the main provider, you're thinking, if I go, how am I going to take care of myself? How am I going to take care of my children? And so you stay and you endure. Or family will say, especially in our Ghanaian culture, our Arabian and some womb, every marriage has got problems, which is true, but there's some problems that warrant you to get out. I will not cover it and say God is against divorce. If your life is at stake, get out and get help. And maybe the other person also needs help. Most perpetrators need help. That's how I see it. Not just the victims, but perpetrators as well. They also need help. So if you're in an abusive relationship, there was this video that was going around. I don't know if you've seen about this Ghanaian man that battered his wife recently, and it's bad. So if you're in an abusive relationship, please get out and get help.
Would you ask a church member who is come to you and says, it's my wife is abusing me, or my husband is abusing me, both, not just beating, but verbal, psychological, emotional,
financial, sexual, all of it.
I would say the solution is not telling the person to get out, but you try to jump in to solve it. We normally say, with God all things are possible, and it can be done. That's what I would say.
that is where we
differ. She works with the Citizen Advice Bureau.
Yeah.
And that's Citizen Advice.
Her field, yes. Her field.
Pastoral care.
Yeah.
I would say, when somebody comes to me, the care that I just said, C-A-R-E, the care, the C means contact. So the person has come, have a contact with me. Then A is analyze. I will analyze what she's telling me. I will analyze it.
Or he is
telling me. So I will analyze it. Then R is reach out. I will reach out by saying, look, we can pray, it can change. And E is a seed. A seed is looking at the other person, either the husband or the wife. Maybe there's a problem there that I will try to solve. So getting out, it will not be my first choice.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I would say. But like she said, there are some people, we have mental health. Yeah, there are some people mentally, they are not there at all. They need help themselves. So like she said, if your life is at stake, then you need to get out. Then we will come to that one and say, okay, let's get you here. Then we try to, but if it's mental health, then your life is at stake, then we need to really reach out and say, okay, it's time to go.
The same way.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I think it's all to do with analyzing, because every situation is different. So you're looking at their personal situation. Is it life or death? Is it something that, you could just say time apart would work? We've cancelled, people that have been in abusive relationships, and, we've, gone in that situation, and one couple, we said, have time apart, even if it's a weekend, you stay somewhere, you stay somewhere, let's pray about it, let's talk about it, see if you can get outside counseling, because I think a lot, especially in Christendom in the church, sometimes it's just, let's just keep it low key. Let's just pray and that's it. But sometimes looking at external services also can help. With the marriage, referring them out, as well as you keeping an eye on them as a pastor to make sure, obviously, their spiritual development and everything, their growth is intact. So really just assessing the situation, praying with them, supporting them, and making the decision in their hands. Because as much as you can tell someone to get out, if they're not ready to get out, they're going to go back in. So it's about giving them all the options, all the support, and then allowing them to know that whatever choice that they make, decision they make, they're still going to have a safe place to go to. Somebody safe that they know they can rely on, who's not going to judge them and say, oh, this person, they didn't listen to my advice, so and next, so it's about a mixture of things, really.
So how do you all spice your love lives? Because we want to spice. Sometimes it's about spicing it up. When we started, you said, well, all the time. When you said, the things that you used to do, and the transparency and all that. And I remember asking you about if each of you, your spouses, know your password to your phones, because some of the things that starts all these unhappiness as well is when there is that secrecy.
That's true.
Do you think that there should be secrets in our marriages?
No.
No, not at all.
No.
Privacy? No.
There's no privacy.
There's no privacy.
Once you get
married, there's no privacy.
Because I just remember when we first got married. You'd be hiding those shoes and be like, oh, those shoes look nice. Oh yeah,
I forgot to tell you.
We all do that. All the women watching, you do that. You buy the shoes and the handbags.
No, but generally, no. There shouldn't be any secrets. It should be openness. You should be free to be who you are, comfortable. Knowing that yes, you're in that safe environment. Your husband, your wife will still love you regardless whether the wig is on, is off, whether you are. Sometimes my husband will come with me to the salon. He will be having conversation with the hairdresser more than what I'm having. Or he will go to a shop, we enter, and they're like, oh, you're back again. Because he's gone in several times and has talked to them about me and what I like. And as soon as I go in, oh, is this your wife? I'm thinking, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, there should be openness. There shouldn't be any secrets. If you're having to hide things, then, it means that something is wrong somewhere, really. But to spice up the marriage, you just got to be juvenile, friendly. We always are cracking jokes. I mean, to the point where sometimes, if we go in the shop, I'll say, please, we're just going in the shop, no jokes, because I know he's going to make a joke to even the cashier, whoever we're talking to. And sometimes I just want to go in and out. You stay in the car, let me go back. It's just about just being fun, free, because you have one life. There's so many ways to die, but you have one life. So enjoy it, live it to the fullest.
So, Reverend and First Lady.
Yeah, I would say you need to know your partner's love language. It's really important. Then, because we all have different love language. I remember that there was a time that my wife's mom came to our house and we were talking about love language, and I said, "Oh, for my wife, when I travel a lot. When I travel and I post her a postcard, she will be over the moon."
Okay.
She said,
"What?"
Yeah, she was angry. She was angry. She said, "You just cut.
Yes.
And you're over the moon."
No.
No, but you see, that's
You
not
know,
her love
that,
language.
yeah.
So sometimes when I travel, I'll go and minister somewhere, and I'll tell the pastor's wife, I said, "Can you get these cards? 5 of them, I bought them, and I'll post one today, and 3 days time I'm going. But can you every day post one?"
Oh,
So by the
that is
time I
beautiful.
come, the cards will be coming. Every day the cards are coming. So there was a time that one of my spiritual fathers, my spiritual father, was Andrew Gardner, a white one. The wife came to visit our church the other day and said, "Oh, you are Sandra. I've been posting your cards." So
that's
something so little that you get to know that that's what takes the box. You have to do that. You remove that. I'm the head. No. If he's running the bath for her, makes her happy, you need to do it. She likes doing the hair a lot, doing the nails a lot. So what I do, I try to find out where does she do the hair. There was a time I went there. I said, "Look, my wife has been doing the hair here. How much is it?" She told me. I paid it. I said, "My wife will come and do the hair." So I came home. I said, "Oh, your hair. You need to go and do your hair." He said, "Oh, yeah, okay, I'm going." Then I gave her money. So she got there, and the hairdresser said, "Okay." When she finished, the hairdresser said, "Your husband has paid already." He said, "Oh no," and he gave me money again.
So how sweet.
There are things that you get to know that what will make another person happy will not make another person happy. So that means the other word that I can bring up is comparison. You don't compare because it's different. Do you know what's something about comparison in marriage? Somebody will say, "I gave my wife at the end of the month £500 on top of her salary. I don't even tag the salary." But you go in, it's not true. But you come and say, "You don't give me anything. What do you give me this house? Not even a penny." I pay, here the tradition. I pay the rent.
You pay the rent. I pay the.
I don't do that. I'm the head.
Yeah.
When you say I'm the head, I pay everything.
Yes.
Yes. I pay everything. But you don't ask her, but the money comes back to me.
Yes.
But I will not say I'll pay for the rent or the mortgage. Then you have to pay for the food. You don't do that. So I would say comparison, they are not telling you the truth. No. Somebody will say, "Oh, this car, my husband bought it for me." No, she bought it on high purchase. She's paying £300 a month. Husband didn't buy it. So you don't compare at all. No. You stick to what God has given you. Enjoy it and learn your husband or your wife's love language and just.
That's awesome. That's awesome. When you said what I just brought in the secrecy, but you said you show your husband or your wife, but sometimes you buy, you show, and they're like, "Hey, you come by because we have to pay the bill. We have to do this. You come, you come."
That's
how do you deal with people like this when the spouse don't want you to spend on yourself or whether the wife or the husband? How do you?
I think that prior to you getting married, once you're dating and courting, there are certain things you would get to know about the person you're dating. But so many times we overlook the red flags. And so when we get married and then it's now bringing out its ugly head, we're like, "I didn't know this before." No, you did, but you overlooked it. Because when you're dating, my husband knows that I love shoes. If you come to my closet, you come to my house, shoes. If you travel, don't get me anything, just give me a pair of shoes and you'll be my friend for life. I love shoes.
Okay, now we know.
Yes. I love shoes. And so prior to me getting married, he was aware that I love shoes. If I see a shoe and I want to buy it, even if I have to save to get that particular shoe, I will save and get it. That is my weakness or what I like. And so he got to know this. He got to know prior to us getting married that I love cooking. I love cooking.
That's good.
Yes, I can cook the whole day. Maybe because I'm a fancy, you see.
Yes, the fancies.
Exactly.
The chops.
Exactly. There are certain things that will make me angry. You would see that prior to you getting married. They say, "Oh no, when you did something," you would know it, but we overlook it. And that is the same way you also learn about the person's love language. In that, when you're dating and when you're courting, you would get to know what floats his boat and what doesn't, what sinks it. And so by so doing, when you're now in the marriage and these things begin to come up, you know how to solve them. If the person was an abuser when you got married, he was an abuser before you got married. It wasn't a trigger that brought it into the marriage. It was there. Maybe they were controlling you, but you're like, oh, he would change. Oh, I'll try. You can't change anybody. Once somebody's mind is made up, I keep telling my clients, I said, it is hopeless to advise somebody that is already taking a decision. You can't, because their mind is made up. And so you would get to know all these little things, the little foxes that destroy the vine. You would get to know them. But what do? We overlook it and thinking, oh, it's love, it will change. Oh, yeah, worry about this. When we get married, it will change. No, when you get married, that thing is not going to change. What was spicing up the relationship prior to you getting married, when you get married, you work on it, you build on it, and so it becomes even more fun. It used to be just the two of us traveling, having fun, going here. He going to say, listen, I've seen that. He goes about all these fancy restaurants he picks around. But now it's us and the children. And so it has to be a place where when the kids go, they are okay. You know, I love Turkish. Now my kids are also loving it. He went to discover a place. We had to go there and try it. And they're like, Daddy, will come here. I didn't even know it. It was he and my older daughter that planned the whole thing about taking me out. I didn't know it. And so these little things, it brings up the spice in the marriage. It brings up the love in the relationship. And then you know that, okay, if he's doing this for you to make you happy, what are you doing to also make him happy? And once you get to know it, you will sail through. That is awesome. But before we go, I want us to tackle one person as the secrecy of phones. Is it very important? Is it important for us, for our spouses, to know our passwords to our phones and bank accounts and all that? Because some people, like personally, everything is open, very open, accounts, everything. But some too, no. There was an instance where the man was not well, and now they couldn't get access to the accounts because the wife doesn't know anything about it. You understand? So how do we? Is it right for us to do that, or is it not right for us? It's not right. One, what are you hiding on your phone that you don't want the other person to see? Or will the other person misinterpret what they see and not ask you, and so then it blows out of proportion? If you see, mine is, if you see, you don't understand, ask. Assumption can kill the best of relationships once you start assuming things. And then once you start assuming things, your mind plays on you. This person is probably doing this, person probably doing. But if the openness is there and you want to ask. But if you come, if I'm working and a client tells me, should I let my husband know my password? I would tell you, it is your personal preference. I can't impose. But in my home, personally, it's open because we have nothing to hide. My kids know, they play with my phone now. They know my password. They download games I don't even have any clue about. But that is the openness because I have nothing to hide. But once you have something to hide, and they call something boundaries. And the boundary is that your phone is private. That is your private space. And so you can now say, my private space, you don't go to my private space. I have my own password. If you need to go and ask me, because that is the boundary I've set. But to me, nah. What do you say?
Yeah, exactly the same. I think the key question is, what do you have to hide? I mean, if you are living together, your husband and wife, your partners, so why are you now making there an unbalance? Because if he doesn't know or she doesn't know, then it means there's things that they're not aware of. Like you said, if somebody was in, an emergency situation, how would they get access? How would they know what to do, who to contact, what assets? You hear of so many people dying, and the lawyers have to come in, and people are not even aware of what they had. And when we were very early in marriage, somebody tried to advise me, start building your house. Don't tell your husband because you never know what might happen. I'm thinking, why would I start thinking that it's going to happen that way? I've already planted that seed, so obviously I will end up in that house by myself. So, you build together, you plan together, you live together. So everything should be open, unless you're planning a surprise birthday party. But, everything should be open. Why not? I mean, you may say to them, I prefer you not to go in, or, I've got some important documents there. I don't want you to mess it up on the computer or something. But they should still be aware of everything.
What about you, Reverend?
When it comes to phone, I would say both ladies, my wife and Reverend Milana said, they need to know. If we say the two shall be one, then you have to be open. Let it, if you want to change it, you need to. There was I was dealing with a policeman the other day, and they said your password. I did this. They said, there's no security. I mean, there's no security on it because it's so simple. And I said, because I want my wife and my kids to remember easily. Yeah. So I would say you need to let them know, because you're not hiding anything unless you're hiding anything, which you shouldn't. There was a time that we were traveling outside the country, and somebody touched my phone, and apparently the person used to do drugs or does drug. And when we went through security, there was a red light. So it became a huge thing. They need to go through my luggages, get to know whether I do drugs or something. Now, the last thing that they were going to do was to come and ask my wife. So I was being interviewed in a different room, and they came to my wife, do you know your husband's password? She said yes. They didn't believe it, so they said, okay, can you just give it to us? And she did it, and that's it. They know if I'm into drugs, she would not know because of the people. So that let me off. So I would say that you need to, otherwise, like she said, assumption. Then the other partner will be assuming you hiding something, you doing this, you doing that. So openness really helps out.
Important.
Thank you so much. I think you have to come back and visit us again, because this is a very broad topic. And before you go, what would you say to that person who is just about to say, I am done with this marriage, it's over? What would you like to tell him or her? And also you, so let's start from you.
I would always say, what made you go into that relationship in the beginning? Go back. It's not wrong for us to look in the rear view mirror. Sometimes we must not stay looking at it, but we must sometimes glance in it to remember. So if it's not life and death, and it's situations that have built up, just go back, reassess, look at things, see where they went wrong, and now begin to look ahead, because there's always a brighter future.
Thank you, Reverend. What do you have to say?
From my point of view, with God, all things are possible. And we normally say, he that has started a good work in you will bring it to a good conclusion. So all you want to do is that just go back to God, and God will turn things around. And I'm praying with you, may God turn things around for you. May this year be your year of a turnaround.
Amen to that. And First Lady Sandra.
I think that the first question, like my sister said, why is the thrill gone? Something triggered the thrill to go away, and so bring that thrill back. If it's not, my point is, if you are not in an abusive relationship, then it can be worked out. If it is, get out and get help, and then you can reconcile if you want to. But I mean, I wish you all the best. Every marriage encounters problems, but how you solve it will determine either you're going to thrive or it's going to crumble.
Wow. Thank you so much for coming. And if you were watching, I thank you for watching, and I hope you've learned something out of it. Share it, and Reverend, where can we find you?
Okay, you can just look me up on Facebook, Amelia QUANSAH, or you can go to www.hppc.org.uk.
Reverend, where can we find you?
House of Mercy, Harlem, and I'm always there.
You're always there. And First Lady Sandra, where can
you can find me on Facebook, and Sandra Awudi or Sandra DELALI, and then you can also, same Facebook, I'm on Real Talk. So I think, that's two main places you can find me.
Okay, and you can find Nana Checha on the Nana Checha Show. So thank you for watching. We have a show coming up at the end of the month, 27th of April. It's going to be fantastic because we're dealing with family, Nana Checha, with an audience, and you want to be part of it. Check all my social media platforms for more information. Thank you for watching.